Welcome back to Crunch Time. Today is another Around the Association episode, and as you can see by the title, we're going to be covering the Charlotte Hornets today. The Charlotte Hornets have done a lot, so let's get into it, because this video might be pretty long. Well, first off, one of the first moves of the offseason was, after the Giannis trade, we heard that LaMelo Ball might be available. And when I first heard this, I was like, they're doing their due diligence listening in, but, they're not going to actually trade him. LaMelo Ball is not untouchable, but, I didn't really think there was that much interest. But the Minnesota Timberwolves came in and was like, hey, we'll give you Naz Reid. And they got Naz Reid. There's a bunch of picks in there. There's so many stipulations with the picks, so I'm not even going to name them. There's, I think, 3 first-round picks, but, 2 of them could be swaps, but could not be swaps depending on something happening. And if it is a swap, that it could be one of 3 teams' picks or something like that. So I'm not going to try to get into all that. But basically, they acquired Naz Reid and LaMelo Ball left. That's the big thing. So what do I think about that? Well, they have Kobe White. They did re-sign him on a 3-year deal. Sorry. I think it was 3 years, 75, something around there. So around $25 million a year. Kobe White is a very good basketball player. He's not quite an all-star, but, I'm not ruling that out for him, especially if he's going to be their starting point guard. He's got Con Knipple and Brandon Miller there, and then also they acquired Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal from the Suns in the Miles Bridges trade, which we'll get into in a second. So Kobe White, if he had all-star level production in terms of numbers, I wouldn't really be all that shocked. I personally think that Brandon Miller and Khan would be the all-stars, but you never know. And I'm not going to say that's out of the equation at all. As for the Miles Bridges trade, so they did end up sending. Did they send? No. They acquired a 2033 pick from both Timberwolves and the Suns. And we'll go over that with the Suns in a little bit, but that's a very good pickup for the Hornets. Yeah, very good, very very good pickup. I do have to say, the 2033 pick. So right now, it's 2026. So that is in 7 years. That guy's in 7th grade, I think, maybe 6th. So yeah, they just traded for 2 6th graders, and maybe that class is stacked, and they get, if you had 2 first-round picks this year, and let's say the Hornets and the Suns are both lottery teams in 7 years, because we have no idea. That could have been crazy. You could have had 2 lottery picks in just this year, and I know the Bucks did, and they turned out pretty well from it. Maybe Nate Ament wasn't the greatest pick of all time, but look, they had 2, and so yeah, having 2 picks from there. They might have 3 because they got one from the Wolves, and then they'll have their own. Yeah, so they could be really good. That could be really, really good for them. They did draft Heinz Steinbach and Christian Anderson in the draft. I know little about both of them. I don't know a lot, but I think it's good pickups, especially losing LaMelo Ball, Christian Anderson. He's not the playmaking type guard, but he can try to do something for that. And then Heinz Steinbach, just another big man to put in there next to Diabate, and really just do all the things that you kind of need from that big man position. You got multiple guys to give you what you need in terms of shooting and rebounding and defense. So yeah, they have a lot of options there. So what's their outlook? What am I thinking? Well, last year they were a playing team, and I do think they were. Do I think they got better? That's the question. I think they won the trades because of the picks, but this team rolling into next season. Is it better? I believe so. I personally think the Royce O'Neal and Grayson Allen trade puts it above that. I would say that they maybe slightly lost the LaMelo trade in terms of strictly skill of what they got, but acquiring Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal really pushes them over the edge of being better than last season. And as we remember last season, basically at this turn of the calendar year, the Hornets were just on fire. They had some crazy record. They were like 22-4 or something like that, like in June or in January or something. I can look that up right now. I want to actually know their exact stats, but they were really good. And yeah, so let's see. Hornets record in January. They did not play that many games in January. I'm very much telling a lie here. They did not play 26 games. They were 11-6 in January. What about January to February 28th? So let's just say. Yes, they were 19-9 January 1st, 20. They were a lot worse than I thought. Those are still good numbers, though. Obviously, 19-9 over 2 months. That's pretty damn good. That's 70% winning percentage. So not bad at all. But yeah, so Hornets outlook. They are a better team than they were last year, and I believe they were the 8th seed. Obviously, they did lose their playing games. So they will be the 10 seed, or so they ended up being the 9 or 10 seed. But they were the 8th seed just strictly off record. In my power rankings, I had them at 9. How is that possible? If they got better and their record got worse and they were heavily weighed down last year, because they probably played like a top 5 seed last year, and they just had a few bad playing games. Well, there's a few factors into that. I think the biggest factor would be the fact that the East just got so much better in so many different places. Like, there are so many teams in the East that were not competent last year that did get competent and got good. Well, I think the Hornets were good and they got better. Some teams, a lot of the teams that were good got elite, and a lot of the teams that were mid got good, and a lot of the teams that were bad got like mid or good as well. So there's just a lot of competition there, and I don't think that they have enough. They don't have a big enough gap in that they didn't get good enough to get better. So could they be a playoff team next year? Yes, they could be top 6 seed. However, I think 5 or 6 is about their ceiling. I think unless there's some crazy injuries or, Nasri breaks out and all of a sudden he's like fucking Dirk or something, I can't see them getting past like the 5th seed. And that's not bad at all. That's better than what they did last year. I'm sure Hornets fans would be ecstatic being the 5th seed going into a playoff series where they're with a team that's probably, only ahead of them by like a few games. And it's a winnable playoff series. If you are the 5 seed, you are in a winnable playoff series for sure. So I think that's really good for the Hornets. And yeah, so that's kind of where I'm thinking about the Hornets. I think they'll be similar to where the Atlanta Hawks were last year in terms of, skill level. I know the Hawks, had a pretty big run at the end of the season, and not everyone, but a lot of people were saying that, they could be dark horses to upset the Knicks. It's kind of true, but also not. So it was a little miscued, but yeah. Anyways, that's my opinion on the Hornets. We're running on 10 minutes right now, so want to end it, but I want to say thank you guys for watching, and If you enjoyed, leave a like on the video, subscribe. Seriously, like don't space out, ignore this section. Like genuinely like and subscribe, please. It really helps the channel. Comment if you need to. Leave a hate comment. Hell, tell me I fucking suck. That would be great. I would love some comments. Just boost my algorithm, please. Tell me I'm awful. That'd be great. But anyways, guys, thank you seriously for watching. And as always, be safe out there and don't get into any trouble. Do whatever you want to do. I guess I'm not gonna control you. But yeah. Anyways, peace.